to the Hume Footy League and what has been a riveting few weeks. Not because we haven't been getting results through or anything like that. It's been nothing. But the politics of it has just been, quite unbelievable, astounding really to follow. And we're actually following it through right now as we talk to our resident expert, the Vice President, Phil Bouffler. And hey, Phil, how are you?
Greetings and salutations, Wayne. Yes, struggling on. That would have had a bloody 100 phone calls today, I reckon. So, yeah, it's been a busy day, but still not a lot the wiser, to be truthful.
I know, and I suppose until the government, in effect, if it says there is to be no community sport until a certain vaccination number is reached, if that was an edict that was talked about yesterday, then it's presumptuous for the leagues in your part of the world, the Farrer and the Riverina, and indeed your league, the Hume League, to say, well, does that mean the season is over?
Mate, this is what's happened. So John Barilaro must just randomly wander around the state making off-the-cuff remarks because he said yesterday there would be no community football until we're up to 70 or 80%. So then he put out a little press release, but that's not a community health order. So we've got to wait till we get the proper order that says, righto, this is the guidelines, this is what you can and you can't do. So why would you make a statement like that if you didn't have your community health order sitting in your pocket ready to fire straight out? So we've sat around all day just wondering where the hell we are.
Yeah, and of course there is the other side of it, because over the border in Victoria we've had the Loddon Valley and the Heathcote District League, and there's a number of others through Victoria that have taken the decision based on their order, which was that they could return to train but not to play at this point in time. And so that has given them some hope some leagues would continue on with a view that they might get to play. Now, at the same time, over in the New South Wales side, you've had a statement made by a senior politician, and in effect it prejudices the fact of whether you can play if you can't meet a certain health order. And I guess it's a different way in which it's been done in Victoria as opposed to New South Wales.
Mate, this is the thing that's come out of this pandemic. You know, we're one country, yet we seem to have a rule for every different state. So some of these little people, these premiers, have got a little bit ahead of themselves with their importance. And, you know, we're all in this together, are we? Well, that's what their government reckons, but how's this working? We're not all in it together because there's rules for everyone. Now, if I had a footballer and my partner happened to, when I was playing for Hawthorn or someone, and she could just go travel around the state randomly, doesn't really seem to worry those celebrity-type people. Yet, you know, you can't have little kids getting reunited with their parents and stuff like that. The whole thing has just got totally out of kilter. There's just no rhyme or reason. Now, apparently, there's 5,000 people could go to the racecourse in Wagga. I mean, how in the hell could that happen?
Yeah, and we're looking at 1,000 people at these community football and netball. Surely somebody could have said, look, you can play this weekend or next weekend without people or patrons at the game and only the athletes. Or you can play with athletes there, but you're only allowed to have 500 or 1,000 people, or however many the number could be managed within that area. But what you're saying is that it appears that the Hume Football League's season is done and dusted. That's how it was reported in the Border Mail, and whether they were ahead of the situation or looking to speculate, their quote would seem to indicate that's where you see the situation. Is there any hope that we could still see a final series of Hume football or even a grand final played in this season?
Mate, there's a small glimmer of hope, and that would be the best I'd say, because it's just very hard to see. And I've always said, you know, like once this lockdown ends, you don't go from sort of 0 to 100 mile an hour. So to go back to pre-lockdown and all that sort of stuff, we're having good rounds of football. We had the mask and QR code and that sort of stuff, but then it was unlimited crowds pretty much. But to go straight back to that after this huge lockdown, and with so many cases in Sydney, was never going to happen. So I just wish they'd put out something and say, righto, these are the guidelines, and then as a league we could say, righto, we can do these guidelines, we can't do these guidelines. And when everyone's everyone's a volunteer, and they want to know, you know, what are we doing? People just want certainty, so we just want to knock this thing on the head and just find out what in the hell we're doing.
Yeah, okay. So as a postscript, if the answer comes out, say, and post us recording this segment for the program on Friday night, which goes to air around about 6:15, 6:30 in Eastern Standard Time, if that were to change and we then look at the postscript of the whole thing, are we going to award, say, a minor premiership if the season's over? Is that what we would be looking to do, Phil, or are we scrapping the season? Would there be a medal count for best and fairest, those sorts of things?
That hasn't been finalised yet, Wayne, but this is only just my opinion. So I think, anyone who finished on top in any league or any grade would be awarded a minor premiership, so that would be fine. So whether that's on a cup or something like that would be another story. We'd have to talk to clubs about that. I think there's a real appetite. We've completed the home and away season, so there's no reason why we wouldn't have the ASI medals or the netball medals, club championships, Rising Star, the Rising Netball Star. That could be done. So, whether that's sitting down in a room if we're allowed numbers, or maybe it's live streaming or something like that. So that's the next hurdle to cross once we finalise this. But there will be some sort of medal ceremony, or there'll be some sort of presentation.
Okay, that's great to hear, because it has been a terrific season and we got a lot of it done, and it was some exciting competition. I mean, just a thrilling situation. The top six was right down to the last round before the lockdown occurred, Phil. So and I'm talking senior football here, but I'm sure that at reserves and at junior levels and across the netball courts, everyone would say the same. Then our thoughts are with everyone. And as a broadcaster, looking to try and get out to people what is happening, Phil, yourself and your team have done everything you can in your power to try and, with 12 different clubs, 12 different people, presidents of netball and football, it's just been a wonderful effort from you and from the others that are on the team, your president, but also other folk at the club level. And our thoughts are with you all with the decision that's taken. If it is the end, then we're certainly going to recap what's been a terrific season of Hume Football next week. Hopefully get some information on the best and fairests and all those sorts of things to come.
That'd be great, Wayne, because, look, you hit the nail on the head there. We've had a great season, 16 rounds. The presidents, the clubs, everyone's just worked really hard. It's been a fantastic season. And, all the clubs are well represented in the different grades of football and netball in the finals. And that's why, it was a reward for all the people getting there. That's why we really wanted to stay with one and, with top six. So, it was just, it has been a good season. So, it's just a pity it's just got flattened out at the end. But, that's just the way it's happened. So if we have to call it quits now, well, I'll sleep easy at night knowing we couldn't have done any more. We've waited till the nth degree almost, or to the very bitter end to try and get a result. We just haven't been able to get there.
No, you haven't. Great effort from all concerned and for all the clubs. Thanks, Phil, on behalf of everybody, thanks for the contribution of the executive in both football and netball of Hume Football. And I look forward, we'll chat again pretty soon, I would think, on this topic and obviously reviewing the season. And we look forward to catching up with you next time.
Mate, thank you. And, mate, don't think we don't appreciate what Flow FM and you've done for us with both the Hume League football and the netball report. There's a lot of people listening to it with interest and that sort of thing. So, it's a great effort you people are doing over there. So, if you're listening, get behind these people. They're a great station. I appreciate it, Wayne.
Phil Bouffler talking Hume Football League here on the Friday Night Sports Show, repeated at Saturday morning.